You win, Simmy.
Oh, you're live there, buddy.
Cool. I can hear your keys. What is up, world? Hello, TPN subscribers, viewers, watchers, peepers. This is TPN, the Walk On, and this is the Friday Prop Strap. I am Joel Walkowski. I put the walk in, walk on, and I put the talk in all things gambling, sports, analysis, comedy, and even today, Polish landlords. And we do have a rule on this show, right? The worse I feel at the start of it, the better the show ends up being. And we're living in chaos here, folks. It's the craziest situation of my life, but what are you going to do? We're going to have some fun today. I'm going to bring on my good friend, the best football analyst I know. We've been killing it all year. He is writing a blog for the Props Network where he bets every game on the year. He's up on the season. And even if you were to put his track record up to some prognosticators with a lot of respect on their names, I think you'd find some surprising results. So let's bring him on, the 52-yard man himself, Steve Clark.
Yeah. What's up, Joel?
What's up, Steve? How are you this, I think, cloudy Friday? The weather's shifting around very quickly here in New York City.
Unless it's pouring rain, I don't know what the temperature is outside.
Yeah.
Just don't go out there enough to know.
Yeah,
but I'm good.
You're good. You've recovered. I think you had a disappointing Sunday. Your Rams lost to the 49ers, but that happens. You know, the 49ers, they show up in these divisional games. They're a tough out.
Yes, and anyone who's been following the Rams knows that the 49ers are the Rams' kryptonite. Like, even when the Rams are good, the 49ers will beat us, especially when the Rams are bad. The 49ers will be. It's like how the Rams are with the Seahawks. The Rams will always take one from the Seahawks, regardless of how good either team is.
Exactly. It's just that division there. It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors. The Cardinals beat the Seahawks beat the Rams, the 49ers beat the Rams. So it's very interconnected. But hey, I'm gaining so much respect for Kyle Shanahan as this year goes on. I think back in our Pile It On days, my favorite bet was 49ers to miss the playoffs, 49ers to miss the playoffs. And yeah, I think they are going to probably miss the playoffs. But what a coaching job, keeping them just like competitive with all the injuries. And now they're going to be playing their home games in Arizona. And as someone who had their home temporarily shifted to Arizona, I can assure you it's not great.
If the 49ers make the playoffs, he has to win Coach of the Year.
He has to.
Even if the Steelers go 16-0, he's had to deal with so much this season.
Yeah, and like regression at the quarterback position from not just the QB1, the QB2, and the QB3. It's been amazing the things he's dealt with, and he's doing all this without a Bosa brother, the best asset you can have in today's NFL.
Seriously.
Yeah,
seriously.
And I don't know about you, but I think the NFC is really flawed. So I keep finding myself like falling in love with the teams at the bottom of the field. Like, if they get in, I can see the 49ers being a really tough out. I can see the Vikings being an extremely tough out. Like, there's not a team in the NFC playoff field I can't see the Vikings conceivably beating.
Yeah, that's very true. They're scary. They blew it against someone last week, didn't they? Was it the Falcons?
No, they had a miraculous win, actually.
They barely beat the Panthers, but the week before, I think they blew it to the Falcons.
Well, they blew it to Dallas, and Dallas actually.
That's who it was.
But, I watched that whole game, and Dallas showed up to play. Dallas played extremely well. Minnesota was not terrible whatsoever. That was just an inspired effort by the Dallas Cowboys, and it makes sense. Do you know how Mike McCarthy revved up the team?
How?
He gathered them all in the hotel room, the hotel like meeting place the night before the game. And he performed a Gallagher comedy routine.
This can't be right.
No, this is real. He gathered all the Dallas Cowboys, the franchise who famously, they had their own house for cocaine and prostitutes. Well, there was a PG operation. Head coach Mike McCarthy, he's gathering them around. He got a sledgehammer and a bunch of watermelons. He smashed the watermelons to rev up the Cowboys. It's incredible.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a guy.
Now hearing that anecdote, would you like to reclaim your Coach of the Year pick? Do you want to maybe?
Did you hear what Jerry Jones said about the Broncos quarterback problems?
No, I didn't.
He said the Broncos have it no worse than us using Ben DiNucci in a game. He said that to the media, just throwing DiNucci under the bus.
I know. Well, we have it. I think this is episode 32 of the Walk On, and that is possibly my favorite moment. Poor Ben DiNucci. You get one start, you play admirably, and then you're just going to be a punchline in perpetuity because
Forever.
Jerry Jones kind of remembers your name. Unreal. And Jerry Jones had some great words on the Gallagher controversy as well. He was happy about the win, but he was disappointed because he had to pay a hotel cleaning bill because Mike McCarthy, he's not known for his game plans, and his team features are no surprise. He was quoted as saying, "It's surprising how much water is in a watermelon."
I still don't believe this is real.
I'm Sam, if you can find this, please pull it up. I know I am in a little bit of trouble with Sam. I may or may not have my professional gambler video in time.
Oh, well, this week you have a little more leeway because there's no Thursday game.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't get around to like you got to write it, you got to shoot it, you got to coordinate. I had to move my 400-pound desk yesterday, so I may or may not have it in time, but it's a two-way street of these disappointments because all Sam's been talking to me is I need you to find a Grinch costume. I have Eli Sayers on every Wednesday to talk college football. It's been an amazing journey for us, and he keeps saying I want Eli as the Grinch. I find Sam a Grinch costume. I'm like, hey, $30. They'll deliver it. They'll walk it over to you. And he's like, well, I don't know what we're gonna do with the Grinch costume. Why ask me for the Grinch costume to begin with, Sam? Man, I'm sorry to air all the Props Network dirty laundry.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Well, I don't have an idea. You're the comedian. You're supposed to have an idea for the Grinch costume.
Give me that note beforehand. Hey, if
I just had a visual. Eli in a Grinch suit. Everyone will love that, right? You're supposed to take that idea and run with it.
You will love that. You love the Grinch, and maybe if we do it, our viewership will grow 3 times.
Probably not. Okay, carry on.
Do a segment where he's really negative about all your picks, and he just tears them apart.
There you go. There's the segment producer right there. Now I just got to convince.
Where's the Grinch costume?
Now I just got to convince a guy with OCD to put on a used Halloween costume. Sorry, Eli. We do love you and we support you. So I don't know about you. I think we've been doing really good on the props all year long.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite slates. So you want to get us started here?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to start with the Lions game.
Okay, I've got one. I can start with the Lions game
against the Bears. Lions coming off their head coach getting fired. I found it interesting. I mean, I just kind of looked back through this season. After the Texans fired Bill O'Brien, Texans won by 16. After the Falcons fired Dan Quinn, they won by 20. Lions are going to win this game.
Absolutely guaranteed.
They don't need DeAndre Swift or Kenny Golladay to be healthy. They're going to win the game because they have a new head coach that they actually want to play for. So with that in mind, I mean, this prop doesn't reflect that at all. I just like talking about how the Lions are going to win this weekend. I'm taking David Montgomery to score a touchdown, which has nothing to do with the Lions winning, but it's not on PointsBet. I found it on another sports book for around plus 187. So there's pretty good odds if you can find it.
Oh, those are great odds.
Yeah. We all know the Lions' rush defense is terrible. They give up 133 yards per game on the ground. And
their starting defensive tackle, Danny Shelton, is on IR right now. John Penasini from Utah has been stepping up and playing admirably, but he's still a 6th-round rookie. So there's a lot to be desired from that DT position.
And here's something you've probably noticed but didn't know. They're in dead last at allowing rushing touchdowns per game. They allow 1.5 rushing touchdowns per game.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna. It's amazing that they're so bad in rushing touchdowns when everyone can score through the air.
Yeah.
There are certain routes that they just don't defend, and you really saw Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller just know exactly how they were going to defend him. It's been that way all year, and I got to thank you. You were actually the person who broke the news to me about Matt Patricia being fired.
Right. Yeah. How are you feeling?
I feel great, and I'm just walking in the grocery store. I get a congrats text from Steve. It's like, what's he congratulating me on? And it's like, oh, it finally happened. I thought it was going to happen Monday. I was surprised. I was stunned it happened on a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see the outpouring of support for the Lions in firing him. Like, there were probably 25 tweets across the NFL coming out, throwing this guy under the bus.
Yeah.
Bus ain't going to fit. But Ashawn Robinson said he threatened his career, which is how you want to treat a second-round pick from Alabama. And we see the Lions we just talked about their issues at the DT and stopping the run. Ashawn Robinson, he's very good at those things. He was run out of town for no reason at all.
Now he's a Ram, baby.
He's a good Ram.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's not your number one DT, but he's a solid starter who with like great physicality. And has he blocked any kicks for you guys yet?
Ooh, I don't think so, but that'd be fun.
Yeah, he averaged 2 blocks kicks a year in Detroit.
Whoa, that's so sick.
Yeah, and this is actually a really fun matchup because it's weirdly two of the best special teams units in the league. The Lions have a good special teams for the first time in my life. Shout out to Braden Coombs. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stick with your game. This is going to be, I like the Lions to win. I'm going to pair it with the under to get like a plus 300 payout because the Lions are plus 145. And the dead cat bounce, which you discuss, hasn't worked too well historically, but this year, undefeated. So I'm going to go with Mitchell Trubisky under touchdowns, 1.5 minus 115. I don't think there's a lot of trust in Mitch right now. I don't even know if Mitch is fully healthy. And it seems that Allen Robinson is pretty checked out at this moment in time.
He definitely wants out of Chicago. He's still good, but he doesn't want to be there at all.
Well, he's great. He squandered his whole career by playing with awful quarterbacks. Like, is he as good as Michael Thomas? Yeah, probably.
He should be in the top 5 receiver conversation. But yeah, poor guy, Blake Bortles to Trubisky to Nick Foles to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I can really see why you'd be frustrated and why you would be liking posts about your own departure from Chicago, Alan. I think we might see a WR1 swap in the NFC North next season. We might see Galladay in Chicago. We might see Allen Robinson in Detroit. Crazier things have happened. I mean, Kenny Galladay, he's from Illinois. He played his college ball in Illinois. He's never stopped living in Illinois. So if the Bears are looking to replace a wide receiver 1, they'd be pretty well. I think Kenny's the guy for them to go after. And I don't really want to be the team that pays him $20 million a year.
No, he can't stay healthy enough to make that money, but he's a freak when he's on the field.
It's weird with his size. He does have amazing precision with his route tree.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, but you know what, Allen Robinson, come to Motown. We'll be fine. So let's return. Can we do? You want to go right now, or should I do it?
Do you have another one for the Bears Lions?
I do not. So go ahead, my friend.
All right, I'm jumping over to this Vikings Jaguars game.
Ooh.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson, 75 plus receiving yards at plus 100.
I've got the same bet. That's the line of the week, right?
Yeah. I love it. Jacksonville's passing defense is terrible. They give up the 4th most receiving yards per game, 280 yards per game. Jefferson hasn't fallen below this number in the last 3 weeks. And in the last 3 weeks, he's averaged over 9 targets per game. He's a target hog. And with Thielen coming back, he might only get 8 targets this week, but there's still plenty of targets to go around for Jefferson.
Yeah, I had this same bet written down. Justin Jefferson, it's amazing. We are in the golden age of receivers, and you see all this hypes around guys like DK Metcalf. And really, I think guys like Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown are kind of my favorite young receivers just because they have such complete games, and you can really help establish a context of an offense with how they play as opposed to just taking the top off it.
Yeah.
So, I love this pick. I love this game. I'm all over the Vikings here. I'm going to be backing their money line minus 480. Well, here, do you know what happened?
What happened?
They had that. I went to a Zoom funeral. It was that's not what the story. It was very sad, but it was Minnesota Vikings themed. So I told them I'm going to be betting on the Vikings this Sunday, and that Joey Slye doesn't miss that field goal very often. I felt some divine intervention. I'm going to continue to roll with the Vikings here. I'm supporting the Greer family in their grief, and hopefully the Vikings keep rolling. It's been fun to kind of find an excuse to root for a division rival, and these are the only circumstances I could ever kind of like them.
Yeah.
They did give Warren Moon a shot back in the day, though.
Yeah, good for them.
Okay, so I'm with you on that bet. So I will just take control of the board, and let's move to the Sunday night game, huh?
Okay.
We all saw what happened in Denver. When you aren't a marquee franchise and you have COVID, you're in trouble. They're going to make you play. However, but they're on Sunday night. They're getting their full team back, and they're playing Kansas City. So there's actually two lines I really like here.
Okay.
Drew Lock over 1.5 touchdowns is plus 152.
Wow.
And against Kansas City, teams have a propensity to score. There's still a lot of weapons in that Broncos offense if they have their full Broncos offense.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty easy mark for Drew to get.
I love that. And the value on that's incredible.
Yeah, plus 152. And it's like the stink that happened on the Broncos last week is really influencing all the player props. Like just going through on PointsBet and seeing all the individual like lines for players for the Broncos, there was a lot of value there. I liked Drew Lock for over all of his overs. And then Melvin Gordon, I believe Phillip Lindsay got hurt last week. I don't know his status, but he's not going to be 100% even if he plays. His over rushing yards is 49.5 minus 115.
Yeah. That feels good to me too.
Yeah, so it would be a good time because like the Broncos, they've had a horrible year, but I think that offense has been pretty competent. And against Kansas City, who has given up big yardage to guys like Darren Waller, I don't see why Noah Fant can't have a big day if he's Jerry Jeudy. I think that Jerry Jeudy breakout game is coming, especially because like he was not involved in that offense last week at all. I started Jerry Jeudy in fantasy last week.
Oh no,
not great.
what a wild card decision to make.
I mean, I like him. He gets amazing separation, and that's what's really cool about all these rookie receivers. Like they're among the league leaders in separation per catches.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah, it's the golden age of receivers, and that's why it's kind of not great to pay a receiver right now.
No. Yeah, I think what we're learning from the NFL is that you shouldn't pay anyone any money. Don't give the quarterback the huge deal. Don't give a running back a huge deal. Yeah, don't pay a receiver. Only NFL players' careers should last 4 or 5 years, depending on what round they're picked. And then they can either get paid, $5 million a year, or they can retire.
Yeah, you can get paid, but only by the Jets or Jaguars.
Yeah.
You get the surplus money for going to a team won't win, and you know what? You line your coifers with that. It works out for everybody.
All right. Yeah, I like those picks. And the Broncos are kind of masters of the back door. So if they're down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter, Drew Lock will throw 2 touchdowns just in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. We've got a decent college football game on Sunday night as well. So I'm going to – there's USC with Washington State, and I actually really like USC there. So there's going to be a lot of action in the later part of the weekend for me.
Love that. How did you like having Wednesday football?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It couldn't compare to the Rockefeller tree lighting, which is, we gamble on the over/under on total bulbs. We bet on Al Roker cutaway shots. So, there's a lot of good Christmas tree bets out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I throw out my weekly Tenenbaum bets.
Love that they had to play at 3:40 because of the Christmas tree lighting.
Yeah, it felt like a holiday. Like I was at home puttering around.
It did.
And it's like, it felt like it was really special. And we're kind of going to get it this week because we have got a Monday night football game starting at 5.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
Love it.
All right. I will return the board to you, sir.
All right. I'm going to this Eagles game and taking Dallas Goedert over 43.5 receiving yards at -115. He's kind of emerged as the top receiving threat in Philadelphia since he came back from his injury. He's averaged over 7 targets per game in the last 3 weeks. And you've seen Travis Fulgham kind of disappear as Dallas Goedert came back. And he's kind of the guy they've been going to. I've been watching the Eagles games because I thought they would be the best team in the NFC East. That division is a nightmare. Carson Wentz is perhaps the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Wow. Maybe he is. I'm not going to say that Wentz has things he doesn't have to improve, but their offensive line has been terrible, and their play calling
terrible.
Really they don't call their plays based on their roster at all. They have the best yards per carry of any team in the NFL. If they had the same kind of like overall philosophy, just on a game-to-game basis, as like the Vikings or Browns, where the run just set up everything else,
yes,
I think it would be a pretty good offense. But you're just seeing them like they throw deep almost every first down. They're in 2nd and 10 every single possession. It's so frustrating. Like I won that my Eagles bet on Monday night thanks to a ridiculous backdoor cover.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people were happy about that.
But yeah, oh my gosh. But is there a more joyless team to have bet on this NFL season than the Philadelphia Eagles?
Brutal.
Across the board.
Brutal.
Yeah. And then, I think there's a lot of issues there, but they still could win that division because the Giants were in the driver's seat, but now we have Daniel Jones suffering an injury. So who's to say?
Carson Wentz is the last healthy NFC East quarterback.
Oh, well, watching him play, that's debatable. Either healthy or a quarterback. You pick yours. And I agree with you there. Goedert has looked amazing on Monday night. It goes through our general theorem of taking the over on tight end yardage. Mm-hmm. And the only issue I'm going to raise with that is Travis Fulgham. Is he being de-emphasized because of Dallas Goedert, or is it because Jalen Reagor has just been playing pretty well for him and they've been emphasizing him in that offense?
Could be, but Reagor plays a completely different role than Goedert, whereas Fulgham was kind of like the big receiver.
Yeah, because he's a receiver, but given his dimensions, it's like, he can run a lot of tight end routes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go over. We're going to take a trip to Texas, my friend. I like the Texans under 23.5 points. If you've followed the Texans over the past few years, you know that the straw that stirs the drink for that offense isn't Deshaun Watson. It was never really DeAndre Hopkins, which is why he was made indispensable. It's been Will Fuller. Will Fuller, he opens everything up. He had an amazing Thanksgiving, and the entire secondary defensive schemes are affected by the attention Fuller gets. Well, he got popped for PEDs. That's how good he was against Detroit. And he's out for the rest of the year. And without Will Fuller against a pretty pissed off Colts team, I don't really expect them to get more than 20 points.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, I like it. And is it kind of unfair for Will Fuller to get suspended?
Why do you say that?
Well, we make fun of this person for being injury prone. Oh, he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. If I'm hearing those criticisms, maybe I will take PEDs to try and stay healthy. Everyone's mocking me for being frail. I'm going to get as strong as possible. I'm going to stay on that field. And now people are making fun of him again. He's the same trajectory as Carey and Carey. He can't win no matter what. We're making fun of him.
Can't get no respect.
Yeah.
The Rodney Dangerfield of the NFL. I love that pick. Yeah, I think the Colts defense bounces back in a big way. And yeah, not having Will Fuller. Yeah. QT is going to have a bigger role, but Who can trust a guy with the last name Cutie?
Yeah, and he's someone who the name has given him a lot of attention, but he hasn't made it happen at any of his stops. I don't see why it would happen now. And let me just go to an ad read quickly, if you don't mind. BetMGM Sportsbook, they are live for legal betting in Colorado, Indiana, Nevada, New Jersey, West Virginia, Tennessee, and coming soon to Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Michigan. BetMGM Sportsbook is the outstanding online betting experience you would expect from the MGM Resorts brand. You go to a lot of online casinos, online sportsbooks, you go to the homepage, what do you see? An entry page, you go to BetMGM, you see Jamie Foxx. Very talented guy. One of the best toupees in the world. And it's just what you want. And it's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful mobile app, the best live dealer casino action, great odds on every sports, and a ton of amazing weekly promos like the Money Monday Club that pays every BetMGM player a free $10 bet every Monday. And they've got a cool college basketball promo going on, which is you bet $50 on a college basketball game, you get $25 to bet on a college football game, and you can roll that $25 onto Coastal Carolina plus 10 against BYU. Plus, for a limited time, BetMGM, they have a special signing bonus for our listeners. All you have to do is create a new account at BetMGM, use code WALKON20, and then you will get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $500. That's right. Just enter code WALKON20 and up to a $500 bonus bankroll is yours at BetMGM. Must be 21 or older to bet online. Do you or someone you know have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Boom. We're back with Steve Clark.
Boom. Boom.
All right. Take the reins. Let me get a little water here. Can you give us your next pick if you wouldn't mind?
Sure. I got another one in that Colts game. Colts-Texans.
Beautiful.
I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor over 49.5 rushing yards. He's coming off the COVID list. He's got fresh legs. The week before he got put on the COVID list was his breakout game. So it couldn't have come at a worse time. He had 22 carries for 90 yards against the Packers. So if that's any indication of how the Colts are going to use him in this game against a terrible Texans rush defense, Texans allow 155 rushing yards per game. So even if, Nyheim Hines gets his 12 touches and Wilkins gets his 8 touches, if Jonathan Taylor gets 16 to 20 touches, 49.5 is a pretty low number for a starting running back.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And I mean, I was kind of kidding about it with the Will Fuller thing, but some players are unfairly maligned and Jonathan Taylor's production hasn't aligned with his draft position, but that's not really because of him. That's because Nyheim Hines has outplayed expectations. Anyone who's watched the Colts knows how they really wield that guy as such a really wonderful, multifaceted tool in that offense. He scores touchdowns off wheel routes, then does backflips into the end zone. Truly one of the unsung, most fun players in the NFL this season. But that doesn't mean Jonathan Taylor is a disappointment. He's a great back, and I love that pick.
Thank you.
Okay, so my one, I'm going to take a trip. I don't need to preface everything. we're going to take. This is a game I really like the line on. Browns, Titans. I think it's kind of two similar identities, and there's going to be a lot of clock run, which leads me to really like the Browns plus 5.5, maybe buying the half point there actually. Mm-hmm. But I think the defensive touchdown plus 320 is really nice odds here.
Ooh,
that's higher than it normally is. And if either of these teams gets up, I think that's just a likely thing to happen because if Cleveland faces a deficit, you've got Baker Mayfield throwing down the field with no real number one receiver. Titans, they're getting their best playmaker back in the secondary. And on the other side of the coin, the Titans, they're missing Taylor Lewan. They're missing Roger Saffold. And the Browns are returning a healthy Myles Garrett. So if the Browns are able to get the lead, they're really going to be able to unleash their pass rush. And I think both offenses are potentially going to be forced to play out of rhythm in this one.
It's always fun to take one that's like a longer shot, just so you can just hope it happens. And if it doesn't happen, hey, it was a long shot. You weren't expecting it to happen. You didn't get the bet wrong. It was a long shot.
Yeah, and
it count.
And these lines, they're usually like plus 260, plus 270, plus 320. It's better odds than it normally is. And this matchup, I know they're kind of run heavy teams, but Baker can make these mistakes.
Baker's bad. Yeah. Exactly.
Myles Garrett can get strip sacks. These are things we see on a weekly basis from the Browns, and the Browns in a positive light. So I kind of like these odds here. And I do have our name a bet feature from this game.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of just come from the pregame chatter about comparing the running back groups between these two teams, Tennessee and Cleveland. I would like to see a line from PointsBet about the head-to-head yardage from Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb versus Derrick Henry.
Oh, I would take the Browns.
Yeah, I would take the Browns. I would probably have them like minus 160 on this one.
Yeah.
Kareem catches a lot of balls. But yeah, that's going to be one of my favorite things to look for in this game.
That's fun. I might even just take Nick Chubb over Derrick Henry.
I mean, I'm with you there. Nick Chubb is on that level.
He's so good.
Yeah. And I know Derrick Henry, he's got like a certain crossover appeal because his runs are so interesting and dynamic.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, Derrick Henry does go wild in the last 6 weeks of the year, every year, though. So
he does. He turns it on in December. If you're hearing "Baby It's Cold Outside" on the radio, cancel it. That song is not for people. No, if you're hearing holiday music on the radio, turn on your TV any Sunday and watch Derrick Henry drag 6 guys into the end zone. And it's amazing because, like, you could look back and what if I asked you, Steve, what's your favorite Derrick Henry run? How many options would pop into your head?
Oh, I could think of a couple from this year alone. The one where he stiff-armed, Josh Norman into hell this year.
Yeah,
was great.
He had the game winner against Baltimore was an incredible play, like the best play a running back's had all year.
Yep. God, he's a complete freak.
He's a complete freak, but Chubb gets you the same production without the Dominique Wilkins factor. So I'm taking Chubb in that hypothetical head-to-head bet that doesn't exist yet.
I'll stay in this game. I want to take Corey Davis over receiving yards. I couldn't find a line on it, but if you can find it anywhere around 60, I would take over. He's emerged as a star this year. He's the Corey Davis we all thought Corey Davis would be a few years ago. In the 6 of the 9 games he's played this year, he's had 6 or more targets. So only 3 games he's underperformed. The Browns give up over 246 passing yards per game. Not a good secondary. And with Derrick Henry being so good right now, should open up the play action, those underneath routes.
Yeah, and there's just a general thing Tennessee did with their skill positions that I don't think any other franchise is doing right now. There's just such physicality across the board. So you've got Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith. All of these dudes are just the most diesel dudes at their position.
Yeah.
So you really see a lot of defenses just wear down over the course of the game, and it totally makes sense. A secondary has to tackle these dudes on basically every play.
Yep.
I mean, it's a really smart way to build a subtle strength in your roster, and hats off to them for taking that prerogative and maximizing their pre-existing asset in Corey Davis.
Yeah. It would be fun to see DK Metcalf and Derrick Henry stand next to each other because they would both just look normal at that point. They would cancel each other out.
Yeah, well, let's make it happen. We got to redo that Alabama photo shoot.
Yeah.
And, maybe we can hire Mark Ingram to take the photo. We'll get a nice low angle there. Okay, I'm a bad guy. So my next picks, I've got 2 from the same game.
Okay.
We're going to New York Jets, Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr over 235.5 yards, minus 115.
Yep.
It's a Jets team. Derek Carr has a lot to play for this week. They were coming off back-to-back losses, and the second loss was pretty embarrassing. Atlanta was supposed to be the least talented defense in the league headed into the year.
Yeah.
And I know Raheem is a great defensive mind. He's doing good work there. But 6 points against the Atlanta Falcons is unforgivable.
They looked so bad Derek Carr's hands are too small. That's what it is. Too small. He can't hold the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he is kind of a game manager in the Alex Smith mold. So maybe we can just study these quarterbacks. If you're a certain hand size, you're just a game manager. We know we never let you throw more than 20 yards down the field.
God, I was on the wrong side of that bet, and I was if that bet would have hit, I would have correctly guessed each winner. I just would have missed some spreads. I went 12-4 this weekend, by the way.
Amazing. That's a nice little result right there.
Yeah.
I had a nice run on the weekend. It's just the Sunday night game has been tough for me. So I have that little bit of, I'm having a good Sunday, but then losing the Sunday night game, it'll just kind of take away the positive effects from an otherwise solid weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I've got another bet in that game. Team to throw the first interception. This line, you just got to take it. Jets -150. The Raiders don't really throw a lot of routes that are likely for interceptions. Carr throws a lot of really conservative routes. When they take the top off, he just misses Henry Ruggs by 5 yards. So I don't really think they're going to throw any picks. If there's any picks in this game, it will probably be Sam Darnold shaking off that rust, trying to actually affirm his draft position and use his receiving core. So yeah, all day on the Jets here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. God, the Jets. Do you think they're going to go 16?
I think they are.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know who they're going to beat.
They deserve to go 16. Like the Adam Gase thing, there's not been any accountability or even just like cognizance of how bad it's been. It's like, So he had a quote in his press conference on Tuesday. He's like, I came here to develop Sam Darnold. We didn't do that.
Who's the we from I to we really quick?
Yeah, as soon as something negative happens, you see him using the we, and that even that just gives you a glimmer of the personality at work. It's just like they're kind of well positioned though. I don't hate the long-term outlook. If they get the new coach, if they take a quarterback #1 overall, spoiler alert, they will. They're kind of coming into the situation where they have a good left tackle. They have a potential #1 wide receiver. Yep. Mims has been pretty effective in his play.
Yep.
So, you know what?
They have Frank Gore.
I mean, at the very least, I don't think the Jets situation is any worse than the one Joe Burrow faced in Cincinnati.
No, for sure. I agree.
Yeah. Do you think Joe Burrow would have? I mean, if you ask him now, hey, do you wish your team drafted a left tackle 11th overall the year before they took you? I think it's a yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a yes. Also, for as far as like best places to go as a new head coach next year, it's got to be the Chargers. If they fire Anthony Lynn, that's like that roster's ready to go.
That roster's ready to go. That roster should be contending right now. They move the ball down the field, and they've got 2 of the league's top 10 pass rushers.
Yeah,
that's the recipe for a successful team.
And they have Herbert on a rookie contract for the next 4 years. Like they're ready. They have a window right now. They can win the Super Bowl in a couple of years if they have a good coach and everybody stays healthy.
Yeah. So Eric Bieniemy, be ready to hit the ground running. Like he has that job already, right? Like
I hope so.
It makes so much sense as someone who loves football. That's where you want to see him go.
Yeah.
He'll get the most out of Herbert. Herbert will bring the most out of him. It's a perfect marriage, and it kind of sets up Bieniemy like long term as like a sort of Andy Reid trajectory of like the QB whisper of this generation.
And it'd be fun to keep them in the same division.
Of course. I don't know if they can block those interviews, but hopefully they don't.
All right. Let me jump to this Seahawks Giants game. I'm taking Chris Carson under 50.5 rushing yards. If you saw last week how they used him, I know he's fresh off an injury, so they wanted to ease him in. He only had 37% snap count last week. And Carlos Hyde was being used a lot. And Carlos Hyde is not great, but he looked fine last week. And Carson tweaked his injury again, the injury he just came off of, the foot injury. So I don't see the Seahawks putting him in there for 15 to 20 touches. Not only that, the Giants' rush defense is really good. They only allowed 95 yards per game on the ground. So even if Carson was fully healthy, it's not a great matchup for him.
Yeah, and just looking at these player prop lines, the Russell Wilson yardage line is a little bit higher than you'd expect. It's 25.5, which,
Interesting.
I mean, even for running quarterbacks, that seems about 7 or 8 yards too high.
Yeah.
I think he kind of runs a similar ratio to Mahomes. He's always looking to throw downfield, but he'll take it if it's the lane, if it's there. 25.5. I think I'm leaning under there. It's not one of my picks, but just kind of thinking about that Seattle game. And am I crazy to like the Giants plus 10.5 here?
Oh, not at all. Except Colt McCoy. I don't know. I don't know if I can trust him. But yeah, that's too big of a spread for a Giants team that has always kept games close this year.
Yeah, and we don't know if Daniel Jones is going or not, right? Because I just pulled up points, but I'm seeing player props for Daniel Jones, so maybe they know something we don't.
That would be, he sat out practice yesterday. I feel like everything is pointing towards Colt McCoy, but I don't know.
Yeah, and this is like a defense you can kind of just roll up and play against. It's not like you're going into the Ravens. Like, you can throw the ball on Seattle. That's what they do.
Yeah.
All right, so my next one, I like Alvin Kamara over 58.5 rushing yards, even odds. That seems crazy to me. I know he gets his yards in a lot of ways. I know that line's not as juicy as you would think it is once you expect it, once you really analyze it, but Saints at Falcons, divisional game. I don't know. He's the bread and butter of that team.
Yeah.
I think they're going to really lean on him in a divisional route while not really asking Taysom to do too much against the suddenly resurgent Falcon defense. And yeah, given the fact that they don't have a real quarterback in, I'm just kind of blindly bet Kamara rushing overs.
Yep. I like that. I was looking for Latavius Murray over. I couldn't find it last night, but I would also probably take that.
I didn't see that line either. I would maybe take that. Oh, Latavius is over 42.5 at points bet.
Yeah, I think you could probably take both. Like, I think the Saints are going to rely on the rush a lot, and their defense they're kind of turning into like an old school football team where they play good defense and they run the ball because they can't pass. So yeah, maybe take the over on both of those, or pick your favorite one and take one of them. But
I mean, even if you were to combine those 58.5, 42.5, that's 101 rushing yards in an entire game. So that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. Florida returns to you.
I'm going to go to this Bengals-Dolphins game.
Ooh, what a treat. Going to the Bengals-Dolphins game. Every football fan's dream. This is my stay away of the week also.
Yeah, we don't even know who's starting at quarterback for the Dolphins yet.
Yeah, and we don't know who's the starting quarterback at the Bengals because no one knows who that guy is.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm going to take T. Higgins under 53.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
Just because of the injury to Joe Burrow. Like, seeing how Brandon Allen used T. Higgins last week was depressing. T. Higgins went from averaging 7 targets per game, over 9 targets per game over the last 3 weeks. And then on Sunday, he got 5 targets. And Brandon Allen only threw for 136 yards last week. Like, he's not good. And the Dolphins are a good defense.
He's not good, but they also were helped. It wasn't a game where he was going to throw a lot because they scored a couple defensive and special teams plays early on in the game. So they were kind of playing with a lead. And then Daniel Jones got knocked out. So that was just a very weird one. I could not believe the amount of it I watched. Like, I just kind of turned on the TV. I meant to throw on Red Zone, but I just got sucked in watching the whole first half of Bengals Giants. And you know what? Sometimes that's how you start your NFL Sunday.
Oh, boy.
What can you do?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I have any more props here.
I got one more. Let me do my last one. Yeah. I couldn't find a number on it, but I got Raheem Mostert over rushing yards. He's a beast. I know the Rams shut him down, but the Rams defense is very good. But he got 16 carries in his first game back, so I expect him to get 16 to 20 carries again. against the Bills, whose defense is not very good. They give up 129 yards on the ground per game. So yeah, if you can find Raheem Mostert over rushing yards, it'll probably be like 65 or 70. I would take the over.
Yeah, all over that. That's a weird game as well. The Bills, their defense hasn't been quite where I thought they would be over the course of the year. And if the circumstances are so weird for the Niners right now, we mentioned earlier that they're playing in Arizona, which is kind of like a U.S. state. But in this game with all this weirdness, how do you mitigate weirdness? You give it to your number one running back, and like Mostert. I don't think we appreciate how much guys like Mostert and Deebo Samuel, they are the identity of that Niners offense.
Yeah.
Will you answer the door, please?
I thought you had a landline for a second.
Yeah, I do.
Sounds like a phone.
Domino's Pizza's calling me. We need to stop the show. I'm getting a fax. So
yeah, that's all my picks.
So yeah, we get the facts here. We get the facts at the Props Network. What is the Props Network? It is the place where bets begin. No, the Props Network isn't a sports book. It's where smart bettors and new players go before the sports book. Why? Because the Props Network has a few things that all bettors need: exclusive sign-up bonuses, reporting on weekly promos, free betting picks, and live odds comparison for every football game. A visit to thepropsnetwork.com before placing a bet guarantees that you'll be wagering with the best available bonus and getting the biggest possible payout when your bets hit. This week at the Props Network, you will get $30 free bets, no deposit required from Unibet Sportsbook, 4 risk-free bets up to $1,000 at PointsBet with code BONUSPROPS, and up to a $1,000 signing bonus from DraftKings Sportsbook. You can get all these deals and more at thepropsnetwork.com. Must be 21 or older to bet online. Do you or someone you know have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Boom.
Boom.
So Sam got a little mad at me, Steve.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't give him the professional gambler video, and I want to make it up to him, and I want to make it up to you. So maybe instead of airing the video, I could do it live for you. I got I'll do it. So give me a second to psych up, and I'll turn around, and we'll do the professional gambler this way, Sam. This is me showing you that I care, Kotler. Hi, I'm Joel Walkowski, and I am a professional gambler here for the Props Network. Following my advice is the best way to a profitable Sunday this side of stealing the collection plate at Mass. How are we? I like the Vikings over the Jaguars. Good news. Kirk Cousins won Player of the Week. Bad news. So many players have COVID, it was by default. I love this matchup. Watching Cousins take on some Jaguars makes me feel like I'm back at my family reunion. Okay. Colts over Texans. Deshaun Watson's been amazing. A Houston star hasn't outperformed their supporting cast like this since Beyonce was in Destiny's Child. The Colts punter, he's out for the year. Team doctors knew something was wrong when his punts started averaging less hang time than a Phillip Rivers throw. I like the Browns over the Titans. Injuries to Roger Saffold and Taylor Lewan will decimate the Titans blocking. As of now, the only offensive line in Nashville is anything besmirching Dolly Parton. Lions money line over Bears. Guaranteed Lions win. Matt Patricia is gone, and now the most hated coach in the state of Michigan is once again Larry Nassar. Don't expect this to keep Matt Patricia down for long. The man is nothing if not buoyant. Those are my picks. Enjoy the games. Go Lions. That was a live version of my video.
Wow.
What did I do, Steve?
That was great. I love you could tell it was live. It was like when I'm the only audience member and you can barely hear me laugh and you say, okay, or how are we feeling?
Those stand-up chops.
Yeah, baby.
They never leave.
Fill the space.
Hey, if I was tempted to take it to Rift City, I just wanted to provide Sam the contact content. I agreed to give him. Oh, and we got the picks before right before I said them. Sam, this is a nightmare. I'm sorry, brother. The dog is barking. The doorbell's ringing. But we know we get good shows out of chaos. Is that not right, Steve?
That's right. Yeah.
I enjoyed the live read.
I did too.
Yeah. It was our own private stand-up show. I dug it, and the viewers will enjoy the video later today.
Yeah, I am sorry about that. It's been a hectic week. I'm getting glared at by the dog, by the fiance. If you're a female in my house, you are mad at me right now. I love you, babies. Tilly, shut up.
Tilly is your fiance, right?
I mix them up. I don't know who's who. The landline's at it again. We got Chaos Fridays because we're dropping props. We're making picks. We're going to win some bets. And Steve, where can we find your blog for the week?
Go to thepropsnetwork.com. And then let me see. Let me take you through the actual process. You go to thepropsnetwork.com. You go to, I don't even know how to get there. Go to NFL. Scroll down. My picks will be right there. There's a football in the middle of a football field. Click on that. You'll see my picks. Went 12-4 last week. Typically, this is how I feel about my picks. If I go 12-4, I'm going to blow it the next week. So take these picks with a grain of salt. But I do feel pretty good about some of them. Go with my top 5 picks if you don't want to bet all 16.
Okay, so what are your top 5?
I'm taking the under in the Saints-Falcons game.
Beautiful.
Saints defense is too good. Their offense can't throw. I'm taking the Lions +4.
Oh, you bought a point on that?
When I got it on Tuesday night, it was +4.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that Lions money line, that's my favorite bet of the week. And what are the other 3?
I'm taking the Bills -2.5 against the 49ers. I bought half a point on that one.
All over that.
Colts -2.5 at Texans.
Oh, did you get that early?
I got that one pretty early.
Dang.
What is it now?
It's 3.5. I still.
Okay.
You probably got. I think Will Fuller just probably moved the line a whole point.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then I'm teasing the Eagles-Packers game, taking the Packers -2.5 and over 40.5.
Wow, Eagles-Packers game. I don't know what to expect out of that one. Potential first round preview. I think so. No, we'll get that in the divisional round after the NFC East team champ inexplicably wins a playoff game. What a world.
And they're going to beat the Rams too. I already know it. They're
going to beat the Rams. I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about the Rams. They're so capable and consistent, but how do you really, it's just the 49er thing. You just can't really judge that at all. It's just something that happens every year.
Yeah. Jared Goff is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks hitting the market. It's time for an upgrade, I think.
I would love to stir things up.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you for coming on. It's been an honor to stir it up with you. It's been an honor to hang out with the Props Network. And if you're watching, let us know. I got the stay-at-home order from Sammy C in between when he was jerking me around about that Grinch costume. And let me know which setup you prefer. I can go at the desk. I can go at the kitchen. Or, those are actually the 2 options. There's no other options. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm very limited, and I've got a very patient woman.
Is there a sauna option at your new home?
You're not going to believe this. I asked my landlord if they would if I could build a sauna on the roof. They said no.
Imagine that.
Dude, you're not going to believe this. I lost my keys a couple days after I moved in, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. They got moved into a box. I can't find them." They're like, "Well, we can get you a new pair of keys. No problem. The only issue is I have to get them from Poland."
That should not be how that works.
It's an essential item. Anyone can lose it. It's very small. And if you want to replace it, it's no problem. I just got to go around the world.
What? How? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you can pontificate about the origins of this strategy till the cows come home. You won't find a reasonable explanation for it. It doesn't exist.
That's great, though. Love it.
Yeah, it's good to live in chaos, and it's good to talk football with Steve Clark. And before we go, I just want to give one quick shout out to the NCAA for doing something right. Liberty was going to play Coastal Carolina. Liberty's a top 25 team. They're a fun product. Coastal is the darling of college football this year. Liberty gets affected. They drop from the game. BYU steps in. We have BYU Coastal tomorrow. Coastal's a 10-point dog. I'm all over Coastal. I'm making my own national championship trophy, and I'm legitimately mailing it to the winner of this. They're playing for my heart here. Zach Wilson's the next quarterback of the Lions. Coastal Carolina's it's the only college football school I root for. Go Blue. And I cannot wait for that game. It's everything I've wanted this entire college football season, and I'm so stoked to be getting it. You guys, I know there's a lot of good SEC and Big Ten games tomorrow, but no, the highlight of the calendar is these teams going out of their way, thinking about what the consumer wants, and giving it to them. Coastal all day, Chanticleers till I die. Book it. All right. Why are you laughing? That's a good matchup.
Sure. Yeah. Great matchup. Well, I had a great time on the show with you today, Steve. I will catch you next Friday on the Props Drop. I'm glad we're aligned with all of our major picks. And I think those big three, they're going to make money for us. We're gonna make a killing this weekend.
Colts and Lions, I feel great about.
Me too.
Start off your 1:00 slate with those. You're in good shape.
Yeah.
All
absolutely.
Right. For the Props Network and the Walk On, this is Joel Walkowski walking off.